Welcome back to a little update video today. We are talking today about AMC and BYND, DJT and Bad Buff and Beyond, and two community wishes, CLOV and Delphi. If you're interested, just stay tuned. As always, I'm using the fractal method. Explanation video. I will put the link at the end of the video. And yes, okay. Well then, let's jump into AMC. Before we start, I have massive headache today. So if I'm a little sound a little bit confused today, or maybe my English isn't so good today, bear with me, please. I really try. I just wanted to do this little update, as always, for Tuesday. So yeah, please. For AMC, as always, we only look at what we have done today, the big update with 1-part squeeze or 2-part squeeze, and so on and so on. I will link the big update video at the end. Okay, well then, let's zoom in. So we didn't close today. What a surprise. Nothing changed for the main tracking. Yeah. Still waiting for my 0.5618 pullback. Yeah. Or something near it or between it. Yeah. I'm talking from a price target to 145 to 120-ish. I still want this pullback. If you're doing the micro tracking on this pullback right now, yeah, we have clearly our peak Friday, this April the 17th. In my opinion, we also have clearly our lower high was here on Monday, April 20. In my opinion, this year, April 2022, was clearly our midpoint. I tried to make an alternative where I can say this pullback is already finished. I mean, fib-wise, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to bounce here. But just for the landmarks, can I put this T somewhere else? The main problem here is, I could say, okay, L ended here, perfect, M started. M ended here, so I could say T was here. I could, yeah. In that case, this would be a little higher low, and this would be already your little A. Problem with this is, it's not working, because A isn't allowed to break under the 786. So this candle here can't be tiny A. So now we could say, okay, then this is our higher low, right? Yeah, but higher low isn't peaking over T. So this has to be T, at least, yeah? Because you could easily say, you just do this. Then we even didn't do T yet and still have to do this, yeah? But I could be wrong, but for me, there is no case that this is already higher low. No case. Yeah. And as always, AMC is jumping, same as Jimmy, jumping Monday, Fridays. Today was Monday, so the rest of the week we have to do something. Yeah. I don't think we do this still, even if we did it kinda today. So the rest of the week, I still see a pullback. Yeah. As always, for why ever. Levels to the upside. If you go over 183, so let's say why ever, we go up here and break these levels, this is bullish. There is no other way. There is bullish. And if we break the 200 AMA, we going. I just can't see it. Yeah. For me, I still want this pullback. Yeah. The same thing I showed you yesterday. This here, all our squeezes on the 1 hour chart, 2021, 2024, 2025, and I can only track what I see and what we already have done. Yeah, And there was never, since IPO, a case where we didn't do at least a 0.5 pullback. In 2021, it was a 0.5 pullback. In 2024, it was a 6.8 pullback. And in 2025, it came near the 0.5. Yeah, here, near the 0.5. This is not near the 0.5. I'm okay with a pullback to 145-ish. Yeah, here, that's near. Okay, then we can say, okay, same like 2025. Up here is too high. Yeah, and the same thing, we always did a higher low. Always. So I want to see at least a higher low. Yeah, and a higher low which is working. This is not working for me. So could be wrong, but as long as we didn't do that, I can't say we have finished it. But this is still bullish. Before we go, because I already got the question, because SPY and NASDAQ look bullish. How can it be that SPY will now break up and up and up, and AMC still pull back? Because in 2021, it was different. Because I got this question already at the beginning of my channel, I think. And I already showed that way early, in the early videos. And I already said back then that whoever is saying that is, I don't know, the nicest thing to say would be wrong. The worst, the baddest way would be saying, okay, he's just lying. Because the thing is, we have 8 hours on both charts, left AMC, right SPY. 2021, 2020 and 2021, here, first part to the second part in June. Same time frame here. First of all, when SPY broke its all-time high back then, that was already August 2020. Yeah, AMC was far away from being ready for a squeeze. Then we look where the V was for AMC, January 5th. Yeah, and if you look, here is January 5th for SPY. That was not a big drop, because that's also something which I hear. Only the V for AMC has to be the absolute low for SPY or something like that. I didn't really understood the theory. But if you look here, that's a nothing burger. That is in the middle of a nice uptrend for SPY. That's a nothing burger here. Okay, this was the first part of squeeze of AMC. Then we went up, and here was the second part in May to June for AMC in 2021. And if you look here, I can even zoom. If you look here, where is it here? That's nothing. Nothing happened here with SPY. Nothing. It didn't even really dipped here. It was just an uptrend, nothing burger, just slowly going up. Second thing, because of SPY, after the peak of AMC, the market topped, and that's the reason why AMC couldn't go higher, and the whole market knifed. I don't know if you're looking at the same charts, because if you look here was the top of AMC. Was that the top of the market? It needed till December to getting a pullback. A pretty big one, I agree, but this was 6 months of uptrending still. To say that the top of the market was the squeeze of AMC is just bullshit. It's just wrong. Yeah. And if we now compare it to today, because of negative beta, for example. First of all, negative beta means when the market goes down, the stock with the negative beta goes up. And normally when the market goes up, the stock with negative beta goes down. Yeah. And since March, AMC just went up. But since March, SPY also just went up. And if we now look, so yeah, okay, if SPY has to go down, so AMC can go down. No, because if you just look since April 17, yeah, since April 17, AMC is pulling back. Now we look what SPY did since April 17. That's not going down. This is a clear uptrend. Okay, you have these two massive candles, but it's still clear uptrending. So, no. In my opinion, the answer to this is SPY can do whatever it wants. It doesn't matter. And maybe it's doing a little pullback when AMC and GME squeeze. Yeah, maybe. Who cares? But to say the only way that AMC can go down is that SPY knifing, that's, you know, it's the same thing. I love to read that on Twitter. Yeah, because every single day, everyone is saying that's the top of the market. Everyone goes short, knife, 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 knife. And SPY is just going up, 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 up. Yeah. So concentrate yourself. I mean, okay, you can look at different stocks. Yeah, you can compare AMC, maybe to BYND and GME, but I would just especially for the beginners, I would just track AMC on its own. Try to find the fractal of it. Don't compare it with bullshit SPY and NASDAQ. Yeah, it's that you can do that if you perfectly track the AMC, then you can compare it. And I already showed it. I don't find the comparison. Yeah. And especially the comparison I hear and see are wrong. But only my opinion. Okay. But for AMC, as I said, main target is still downside. If we break 180, punch me, then it's upside. Why ever? Don't see it. Yeah, but still May. Okay, next one is BYND. Just a tiny update today. If you're interested in more, watch the bigger video or the video before that. But today we just look what we have done today. So, and the only important question, of course, is, was that the V? Is the pullback of A finished? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the only question. First of all, I still the opinion we have no bearish alternative anymore. Yeah, so the bearish alternative would be we touch 70 cents, but really, I don't think we do that. If we do that, that's very bad, really bad. We aren't allowed to do that anymore. Yeah, and I also don't think it. For the question, is the pullback finished? This is our A. Yeah? We rejected M line. We are over T, so this is our A. A is doing 0.5 or 618 pullback. Our 618 is at 83 cents. 83 cents. We come as close as 85 cents. So 2 cents difference. So in the longest way possible, we could say, okay, maybe we need one more pullback. We are talking about, to do the really breakout retest, we would go to 81 cents. So we need a drop of 9 cents. Yeah. In that case, this peak today was just T. Yeah. We need to do one last pullback, maybe a micro high low, and then go. I would say that is easily possible, doable till Friday, because we still have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days. If not, if this was our V, we only have 2 possibilities left. First, we just go from tomorrow on. End of story. Or we say this is our V and we still need one last micro higher low. Yeah. In that case, if we zoom in, we still need to drop to 82 cents. That's 8 cents down. Yeah. To what I am tending to, I really have to say, we will look at this in a second. I think Friday, Mondays are kind of important to BYND. So I would most tending to, we still need to do the higher low, the micro higher low till Friday or till Thursday. So dropping 8 cents. So doing something like this, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. And then we could see big moves from Friday on. Yeah. For levels, I already wrote that in the comments, I think. If you break over $1.03, there is no higher low anymore. You are going. Yeah. Your next level is breaking 160 and then what we talked last video. Yeah. Up, up, up. For downside, yeah, I mean, if you break 85 cents, you will touch this trend line again. 81 cents. You have to do something till Friday. So about this Friday thing, because I looked at that. If you look here, the first push to A was on a Monday. And the push to T was on a Friday. The push to previous M was a Monday. The big starting moves in October was a Monday. I mean, you could even say this was started on a Friday. Our previous big T started on a Tuesday, but no, Monday was there. Okay, this was Tuesday. The big push from our previous M was, our big M was Friday. And the big push of our lower high was Friday, Monday. Yeah. So you could say there is something similar to AMC and GME where the big move starts Friday, Monday. Doesn't have to be, yeah. But in that case, yeah, okay, we have to do something till Friday. Yeah. So let's see. But again, this thing looks fucking bullish. Yeah, no financial advice. I could easily see something big in May, or if you're just looking for normal tracking, July, August for the peak or ready for the pullback. If we're not just doing something stupid. But BYND looks perfect. Okay, next one is DJT. Oh, DJT, I don't really know when the last update was. It wasn't that far away, 1 week, 2 weeks. But it got a few moves, but still looks bullish. But for the overall tracking, just for the summary, it started its V, its IPO, in my opinion, in its higher low, because you think this was the higher low and then you just went. But it was fucking vertical. Yeah. The main point about DJT is it most of the time jumping its A and Bs. And we come to that in a second. So A, B, C. Just 2 lines. Yeah, I mean, okay, it was IPO. Then we did our massive lower high. Also, you see the uptrends are fucking quick. The pullbacks are fucking slow. Then we started our massive M. Again, quite quick. Okay, for M midpoint, you could also say this was a quick pullback. But then you started your T. Quick up, fucking long pullback. And now, before we going into the micro tracking, we have to do now our macro higher low. I will come in that in a second because it's a little bit more complicated like many of our other stocks. But our main target is of course A, B and C again. Normally for our main rules, A has to be over T, so over 60. B has to be over M, so over 80, and all-time high, breaking or rejecting, whatever. But because you see that here, that normally you don't really see pullbacks. Yeah, there's a good case that DJT is not doing A, B pullbacks. Yeah, there's a big case for DJT that you just do something like this. Sounds stupid, I know, but look at IPO. Yeah. Now for the two higher lows. Yeah, we have two possibilities of higher lows. First of all, in my opinion, we need one. Yeah, you see that IPO, you need one. You need a higher macro higher low. Yeah, and I mean with macro higher low, we need a higher low for this. Yeah, so this small thing here is not big enough for this. Yeah? This small thing here would be the start of the macro higher low. But for the two possible macro higher lows, I have, if you watched my tutorial video, you have your main trend line and you have your MT line. The main trend line is there and is used if your T is big enough to touch the trend line, or at least come close to it. There are cases like here, for example, where your T is just too short to touch the main trend line. In that case, you also have the MT line. So for what? For the peak of the higher low. If you have an MT line, the peak of your higher low isn't allowed to break through that. So in that case, your maximum peak would be here around 21. In that case here, it's quite simple. It doesn't matter, because in that case, you aren't allowed to go over T anyway, because the peak of the higher low isn't allowed to break over T. Yeah. So in that case, 17-ish would be your macro higher low. But if you do the big one, so if you break this level here, the only way is that this would be A, this would be B, and this here would be already C for your higher low. The only way. Yeah. In that case, your peak of the higher low would be 30, and you would still have to come down. We are waiting for these two higher lows. One of whatever we are doing, we still need one of these higher lows. But now for micro tracking, because that is the only thing which is right now interesting. We have three versions. The third version is the unlikeliest one. That means you just knife your all-time lows, buy, end of story. Yeah, I don't think this will happen, but always have the alternative. For me, kinda, I'm 50-50 on the rest of the versions. First version would be, I would say, the quickest one. That's why I would like this one most. Yeah? Would mean that this is our micro higher low. And this here in April 17 would be already the peak of this micro higher low. Because you have your V, you have your higher low, micro higher low, you have your A, you have your B, peak under T. Perfect. In that case, you already did your L. And what we did today would be already your M. Just the M of this micro higher low. We already have our number to pull back. RV under A. That means 878. 878. Yeah. Or the 786. Yeah, same level. Yeah. So you have to come down here. 876. And then you can start with the macro higher low. One of the two I showed you. This would be the quickest version, because you would have already have done M and you can already pull back. That would be quick. The second version for this is this whole thing would be just the A of the micro higher low. What do I mean with that? To make that, I try really to make that so easy to understand as possible. Because if you look from our V to our peak here, this was a 618 bounce. Yeah. So this would be A. You go up. This would be your B. You make a 0.5 pullback. You're not going over T. This would be your C. And this C would be the peak of your higher low, your micro higher low. And then you have to come back down here. And then you can do the two macro higher lows. Of course, this would take more time because you will go up, pull back up, and then LMT. You know what I mean? That's why I don't like that, but it's not about liking. Yeah. For this to be true, if you're not pulling back here, if you go over 10.33, it's more really, for me, simple confirmation, you will do this. Yeah. If you pull back from here and you break 930, I think we're doing the short version, which in my opinion would be the best because quicker. But yeah, but all for everything, DJT looks interesting. Really, really, really good. Just for the thing, will it go with memes? It's not that old. Yeah, it started its IPO in October. In 2024, in May, it already did a pullback. In 2025, in May, it did its middle point of T. So I don't think that DJT will go with the memes. It's most likely doing its own thing. But when it's fucking finished, it's a monster. It looks good. Next one is Bed Bath & Beyond. I even looked back. The last video update on this was in end of March. To be exact, the last update was, I think, here. Yeah, 28th of March or something like that, here in the region where it got very boring. But the tracking is perfect. It's just nice. We still have two versions, an absolutely bullish one and absolutely bearish one. But the bearish one is dying. For the tracking itself, we only look from 2020 till today. V, A, B, C. Also to say that there weren't really 0.5, 0.618 pullback. I come into that in a second. Then all-time high, lower high, midpoint T, V in April 2025, and since then we just did higher low. We start with the bearish version. In the bearish version, it's pretty simple. This hump here is just T. In that case, we will reject here, knife, new all-time low, everything starts over, shit. Yeah. Not seeing that. From day to day, it's getting less and less possible. For the bullish version, from April 2025 till April 2026, was just higher. We will look at that in a second. Our next target, our next A, has to be over T. That means over 15. And our next B has to be over M. That means over 40. And then the only question is, are we breaking all-time highs or not? Because I already got the question, do we see pullbacks? When is the next pullback? And before we go into this, that's the main problem here. Because if we even want to see pullbacks, the only chance to see pullbacks would be if we are still in front of this. Otherwise, you don't really have pullbacks anymore. And to say that, it's one of the few stocks where you can't track it then anymore. Yeah. Because you see, you don't have anything here. It's just a steady uptrend. The only thing you can say is, okay, here's my T. That means here's my A. Here's my M. Yeah, okay. So here's my B. Yeah. Same thing, I think, will happen here if you're bullish. That in the moment we're breaking out of this trend here. Make it better. So in the moment we're breaking out of this trend, this trend here, we can only say, okay, perfect. We are over T. This is our A. We are over M. This is our B. Because if we're really repeating 2020, this will be something like this. This is untrackable. Yeah? The only thing are our previous landmarks, but there are no 0.5s, no 0.618s. So now for the tracking for the higher low, because today after hours, 25% up. For the track of this higher low, it was perfect. V, higher low, A, B, terrible C. I really have to say that because the difference between B and C is nothing. But still, lower high, midpoint, T, V. And as I said, the last update I made was, I think, here. Yeah. And since then, it was just terrible boring. And till here, there was still the possibility that this could have been T and we would still have gone lower. But with this breakout right now, no. In my opinion, this here is a perfect A pullback. If we now go lower on the time frame, this here could be already your little B. Yeah? Means you maybe, I really say maybe, have to come, you can come down to 630. Yeah, if you're doing that. And your next C would be already your middle A. Yeah, pullback, B, and so on and so on. The main problem was the merger. Just because, I don't know, for 2 weeks ago or something like that, it merged. That killed the old option chain. And the new option chain is terrible. It's just terrible. Massive spreads. I mean, that could change right now. No high strikes. Yeah, I think the highest one is 15 only. So there was just, for me personally, no good entry. No good entry. Yeah? So be careful. No financial advice, maybe playing shares. Yeah, but it's quite shitty. Yeah, the merger killed the option chain. It's fucking stupid. Yeah? Manipulation. Okay. Now to our two community wishes. One is CLOV. So, and one thing for CLOV. Yeah. I really have to say, I am still working on it. Yeah. I really don't like this tracking. Really. I have a bearish one and a bullish one. I start with the bullish tracking, but only because you know me, I always want to present both sides. This is the bullish tracking, and I really have to say I hate it. Yeah. Why? First of all, I have not really found yet a comparison to IPO. Yeah. Normally, that's the first thing I'm looking for, because this here was the IPO. Do I find this somewhere in here? And I mean, okay, I feel quite ill. Yeah, so maybe because I'm not really concentrated, but I didn't find it yet. Second, or just because it's a fucking young company and you don't have much price action here. Second, so for the bullish tracking, C, clear. Lower high, midpoint, T, V, no higher low, A. Yeah. And here the problem starts. First of all, you have a fucking tiny L, a fucking tiny M, quite big T, and a massive A. This A should be finished. Yeah. If we now micro track this, then this would be your C, this would be your M, and this would be your T. Same problem. And here would be your L. Yeah, same problem. You have a massive M, but just a tiny T. You know me, I hate it. But it's the only way you can do it, because here your M started, here your M ended. So this candle here is the only possibility to put you in your T. That means overall, without micro tracking, you should go up. If you break 288, that's bullish. If you break over 4.3, that's very bullish. For overall, your next landmark would be B. Yeah. So $11. So just saying, I mean, that depends on everyone else. For me personally, and I know everyone is, I'm not judging here. Yeah. But in my opinion, there are way better plays to play instead of playing something from $2 to $11. Yeah. But okay. And then the question is, are you breaking all-time highs or not? Yeah. That is the bullish version. But as I said, I hate that. I really hate that. The alternative for this is that this isn't A, that this is M. Yeah. And here is your T. And this is your lower high. That is the alternative. And it's working better. Just saying. Because you have here your L, this would be your M. In that case, okay, you maybe come up here. You're not breaking this trend line. So you're checked $3-ish. Calm down. You have to come lower than 61 cents. You come up again, that would be your T, and then you have to go even lower. But fractal wise, just from the looks, this makes more sense for me. And that's why I don't really like this stock. Especially, and that's maybe my main problem with this. You could do right now this here. That's my main problem. Yeah. So I will still look at it. Yeah. I'm really not performing in the last days with my head. So I will try to make an even more proven version for the next video on Thursday. But I don't think that it will change so much. Yeah. It's no financial advice. It's absolutely your thing. I wouldn't play it, but okay. Okay, and the next one, the last community which tracks way better is Dragonfly. And this is quite easy. It's really quite easy. You have an 100% bullish version. You have a 100% bearish version. This here is the 100% bullish version. You don't have anything from IPO because this was just sideways. You go up to your C, perfect. Lower high, perfect. This has to be your M. This has to be your T. Means June 2025 was your V. And as long as you're not touching 150, this is a perfect higher low. If we track the higher low, then this would be your C, this would be your T, this would be your M, and somewhere in here is your L. Yeah. So you might have to do a micro higher low still. In that case, from V to peak, you maybe have to come down to 172 still. Yeah, just this little tiny thing. Yeah. But then it should go up. To where? And now comes the difficult part. Of course, your A has to be over T, so over 127. And your B, of course, has to be over M, means over 844. Won't happen. Yeah. Why? You have two reverse splits. I don't think you come up here. And so A pullback, B pullback up. No. Without a forward split, I think this level here is your maximum. 123, even if it goes that high. But without a forward split, and yeah, because and you only, it's a 12 million share float, I think. Let me look. Is it? Yeah, 12 million. Yeah. So yeah, it's possible to go up here, but I don't think you will see a share for $800. The bullish version is pretty simple. The bearish version is pretty simple. You touch 150. If you touch 150, this is not high low. This becomes your T. And your M is pulling back down here. The thing is, the lower high still looks perfect for this level. Yeah, but this becomes T. In that case, you're making new all-time low, of course. In that case also, I think you will reverse split again. Problem with this is that this stock can just become a mullen then. Just saying. Yeah? Just going down always. Yeah? Problem with this, they only have a 12 million share float. So the only reverse split they can do is 1 to 10. Because otherwise there are no shares left. Yeah? So that would bring it to 10. And I would say if it touches or break it, no financial advice. 150, hands off. If you're holding this higher low, okay, there is a play. Otherwise, hands off. Yeah, I think that was everything. Again, really sorry for today. I don't know if I performed good or not, but yeah, shitty headache or whatever I have. As always, explanation video at the end. Here, playlist here. Big update with video for all our stocks and the big stories back here. As always, if you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more, leave an abo. And let's see what the rest of the week is giving us. See ya.